Hi, I'm Zarar from Raptors Republic, and today we're going to talk about OG Anunoby's offense. The reason I want to talk about his offense is because we just finished a series with the Celtics where we played 7 games over a 2-week period. They were an excellent defensive team. The outcome of the series was obviously meaningful. Everybody was trying hard, and that's not something you get all the time. You don't see that in the regular season, so it's a good chance to see how our players performed in this situation. And I picked OG because our expectations of OG aren't just for him to be a 3-and-D guy. We have aspirations that he may become a future all-star. And I want to talk about a little on how he can improve his game and what gaps he can fill so he elevates himself to levels of Pascal Siakam, or maybe not Pascal Siakam in the series, but Pascal Siakam overall. So let's dive into it a little bit. So I've organized this video in 2 main sections. If you look at OG's overall offense, it really comes from 4 main areas. First is 3-point shooting, where people are setting him up for threes. I think we all understand how that works. There's no reason to look deeper into it. He catches the ball and he shoots it. And he's pretty good at it. He shoots like 41% from there. The second area of offense is offensive rebounding. He crashes the glass a lot, and when he gets the ball, he usually goes up and puts it in. It's the other 2 areas that I want to focus on. Those being off the ball movement. How does he move within the half court set without the ball? And finally, how does he fare in one-on-one plays where he has to create on his own or drive on his own? So again, it's these 4 areas that he gets his offense from. And it's the latter 2 that I want to examine today to see where he can improve to become the all-star player that we hope he becomes. The Celtics come off in a zone on this play, and OG is being guarded by Kemba at the bottom of your screen there. And this is a rare instance for him to actually go inside without a defender necessarily checking him closely because of the zone the Celtics are playing. And here, as Fred attacks the zone, good move by Fred for actually penetrating and looking for his teammates here. So as he attacks the zone, OG does excellent in sealing Kemba Walker off. Notice how Kemba Walker is on his hip. So with that, he takes the defender out and is awaiting a pass from Fred so that he can go to the rim. Fred, with a pretty good pass right into the hands of OG in rhythm, and he goes up and finishes the move. He's still got a defender to beat, which he does by reacting quickly. If he takes his time in these situations, I find he gets in trouble, but if he immediately acts, it results in some good stuff like it did on this play. One of my favorite aspects of the game is big-to-big passing. That's why I like Marc Gasol on the team, is because he opens that avenue for us, even though in this series he didn't do much. But Ibaka here is in a position to really spot OG, and the 2 connect right here. They made the eye contact and they know that OG is going to cut. Now, the question is, why doesn't OG cut all the time? That's because he needs help from his teammates to cut. And as you'll see here, it's Kyle Lowry's back screen right there that allows OG to really cut without any cover. And Ibaka's pass is bang on. And he finishes nicely here, and he gets the foul too. But the key thing I want to point out here is that we want to get OG going off the ball, but that still requires help from his teammates to set him up. And Lowry did a great thing here by setting that back screen. More of this is needed from OG if he wants to develop beyond just a 3-point shooter. It's a high pick and roll for Fred and Gasol, but the real play here is for OG, as you can see with that Kyle back pick right there, which gets OG a very clean look. The shot is missed, and usually after a missed shot, he might crash the offensive rebound, or he might just wait on the perimeter for another pass to come to him so he can launch another 3. Except this time he cuts to the middle right after the offensive rebound. This makes the defense think a little harder about him instead of them just keeping an eye on the perimeter. And he gets a very easy short jumper out of it just because of a simple cut. This is the type of off-the-ball movement that is very easy to add to his game for next season. This play is essentially what Tice did to him in Game 6, where OG cheated and Tice got easy lobs. In this case, Tatum's the one who's cheating to help out on Siakam's drive. And full points to OG here on not just sitting outside, but actually cutting inside looking for that lob, except his hands let him down. And this is, a general trend with him where his finishing could improve a lot. This is the only angle I have of this play, but Lowry is setting a back pick for OG to cut to the rim, and he does. And he even fakes out Tatum properly, but he just blows the layup. Nothing much to say here. His finishing is a little suspect. This clip gives us a glimpse of how he makes shots more difficult than they need to be for him. Lowry will drive here, and OG will cut against a distracted Marcus Smart, who does track him, But instead of going up at once, he decides to play smaller than he is and double clutches it, making the shot much harder than it needs to be. He essentially fails to understand the height advantage he has against the defender and the compromised position the defense is in. He's paying way too much respect to the defense and just making life more difficult for himself. If OG is to improve as a scorer, this finishing has to get better by orders of magnitude. The Raptors usually run pick and pops with OG, not pick and rolls, and this is sort of why. Here they run a nice little one with him and Lowry, and he gets into the heart of the defense and has one defender to beat. Tice is behind him, so nothing to worry about there. It's just Brown now. So at this point, what does he do? He could either go strong, dunk it home, or he could stop and pop for a little jumper, or he could have a little runner here, or something of the sort. Or if he doesn't like to shoot, he could even pass it to Siakam right there. But he does none of those things. Instead, he uses his offhand, contorts his body a little more than it needs to be, and is unable to finish. Look at Lowry's eyes here. He's making contact with OG and planning a pass for him here. And there it is. That's the lob to OG. Great catch. It's a good job to actually catch the ball while sealing your guy off. And at this point, you either go straight up or you take one quick dribble just to stick your ass out to create space, and then you go up. Instead, what he does, he takes one dribble, two dribble, gathers more, and now you have an extra defender on you. And this shot just became 10 times harder. So ask yourself, was that dribble worth it? Was that extra dribble worth it? And is this something that might just come with experience for him? Or is this something that it just is instinctual? Or does instinct come with experience? Raptors run some action on the far side of the court here, and the ball eventually gets to OG, and usually when he catches it, he just shoots it. In this case, he decides to attack Tatum and goes baseline, and then comes the preferred spin move to his right, which is a staple of his offensive game. Tatum does try to poke the ball away, but OG does a good job of protecting it. And at this point right here, OG has to be comfortable either going up strong or stepping back for a short jumper. But look what he does. First, he takes a little too much time gathering the ball, which allows the D to recover. And then instead of creating space, he takes away space from himself by going into where the D is. And of course, it gets rejected. Let me play that back again so you see it in real time and see some of the awkwardness in his drives and where he needs to work. Basic pick and roll with Fred and Gasol, and Fred is able to get into this area where he possibly could make this pass to OG waiting there, but Fred is not really great at picking this out, and the Celtics have a lot of length, so the risk is high. So he chooses to run that pick and roll back again, and the ball ends up with Gasol, who is able to pick out OG because he's in a better position, and he's also taller, so there's less chance of that pass getting kind of picked off. And OG usually at this point just takes the three. That's his default reaction, is to just bomb away. But in this case, he fakes out and catches Brown out of position right there. And as he drives, great decision to drive. He should be doing much more of this. But the problem here is that as he drives, he sort of makes himself small and decides to use his offhand to finish, which brings another defender into play and bails Brown out basically. Here you got to lead with your chest, go up with two hands if possible, and finish strong. He doesn't do that. He almost hurts himself by going small and using his offhand, and the rebound doesn't lead anywhere. This is probably his best move of the series. He sees Robert Williams on him in a one-on-one situation and decides to take him on. And as he drives, Robert Williams clearly did not read the scouting report here, because if he had done so, he would have realized that OG's preferred way is to spin to his right, which he does exactly here. And as he goes to the rim, Jason Tatum is right there, who does not want to help because Lowry's open. And also because he's frankly a little surprised that OG drives, because he does not do that often, so it works out. This is in semi-transition, which is always a good place to find mismatches, and Lowry here figures that OG can take Tice off the dribble, and OG's up for the challenge. Sure enough, he does blow by him, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why he opted to reverse it and go on the other side of the rim. Maybe he thought the rim would supply some protection, but much better protection than the rim in this case is your body. Specifically your ass. Basically use Kyle Lowry's technique of sticking your butt out when you're going up so you can draw the and one. It's these little instincts that go wrong for OG right now that prohibit him from becoming a consistently good finisher. When all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And OG has that one spin move which he uses in every situation, even when it's detrimental to what he's trying to do. Here, he'll come off the screen and get into the lane, which is great. But then as soon as he sees any sort of defense in front of him, he will use that spin move and turn to his right, except this time he turns right into another defender, which gets the easy block. So he's got to diversify his offensive moves beyond just that spin if he wants to start finishing on plays like these. He'll catch the ball here with the intention to drive, and Tatum sort of cuts him off because Tatum appears to be quicker than him. You would love to see OG blow past Tatum in that situation and get into that middle of the court area and fade for a short jumper like we've seen a couple times. But he's forced to pull back and he reverses the dribble the other way and he goes into traffic, and guess what he does? Yup, the spin move. Look at that spin move. It's within two defenders and one of his own guys, but he managed to squeeze through, blows the layup, but managed to get the offensive rebound and finish. But you would love to see a little bit more diversity here. Maybe add something to your game which allows you to score from the middle of the floor more through some pull-up jumpers, maybe some step back, something like that. Because pretty soon this will get predictable and defenses will catch up. The ball gets swung around here and OG takes on Tice after the switch. You would love to see him not challenge Tice here all the way because he's been struggling with his finishing, but instead use that little step back jumper or maybe a little fade to hit that mid-range jumper. But he doesn't have that confidence and he actually prefers going and attacking the rim even when it's tight in there. And as you roll this play, look at where he releases this shot from. Look at his position, where the ball is being released from. Look at the defense's position. That becomes a very low percentage shot. If he had something else in his arsenal, like a short mid-range game or something a little different, then his offensive options open up. But right now, he's just forced to take a very difficult shot. He's got to work on his passing as well. Here he gets into trouble by going baseline and then uses a slow spin move to get out of it. But then he has two options to pick from, Ibaka and Gasol, two big guys to throw to, but the pass is inaccurate. On this one, he chooses to drive after some screen action and he goes to his left, beats Kemba, and then look here how deep he is. He's at the rim at this point and can easily go up, throw a floater or a runner or something like that. But sure, he chooses to pass to Fred VanVleet. I get it, get 2 easy points and a baseline jumper. But man, look at the quality of that pass. That's got to improve. I'd like to see more of this from OG. So he will catch the ball from Fred and notice that he will immediately make his move. He's not going to waste any time with dribbles that don't do anything. Catch and just drive. And the Celtics, as usual, play him for the spin move back to the right, which he does. But this time Kemba Walker is a little further out because he expects the spin move to be all the way. Except OG pulls back, creates enough space, and shoots over the shorter Walker. This can be money for him if he diversifies that spin move with just another option, and a step back jumper like this is perfect. What conclusions can we draw from that? For sure, he needs to develop a few areas before he becomes an elite offensive player. Forget about elite, before he becomes a good offensive player, he's got some work to do. For starters, he's got to work on his finishing. There are too many instances where it's 2 easy points and nothing comes out of it. Second, he's got to diversify his offensive moves. That spin move is becoming very predictable, and he's got to get something in there. Maybe a bit of a post-up game, maybe an up and under, maybe something which gives the defense something else to think about other than that spin into the right. And also a mid-range game. He does not really have a great mid-range game. More specifically, he may be a good mid-range jump shooter, but he doesn't get enough FTAs from that area. So maybe develop a step-back jumper where when teams are crowding you and anticipating that spin move, you can kind of step back and get 2 easy points in that mid-range game area. Quicker and decisive in the paint. You notice that he catches the ball and he waits a little bit too long. He almost lets the defense catch up to him and then they're in a better position to challenge. He's got to avoid doing that because that's easy points right there. And also invite some contact. He doesn't get fouled enough. Even though he's in positions where you usually get a foul called, he does not get foul calls against him. And that's because when he goes up, he's avoiding contact. He's not being assertive enough. So maybe if he fixes that by next season, not all of these points, but if he makes some progress across these points by next season, gets a little bit better in each of these areas, he's on a trajectory to be a pretty good player. But for now, he is an excellent 3-and-D player. Maybe one of the best the Raptors have had. Certainly he's on pace to be one of the best 3-and-D players the Raptors have ever had if he's not there already. But to become an elite offensive player, he certainly has some work to do. But you know what? I have faith in OG. He works hard. He's got a cool head about him. He's serious. I don't think he takes nights off, which is always a great sign. So I'd bet on him, even though I'm not a betting man.